This is the Paul Goff audio experience, business lessons for physical therapists. My name is Paul Goff, former professional soccer physical therapist turned successful business owner and best-selling author from the UK. Each week, we answer your questions and bring you an inspiring story or person from the global physical therapy community. This show is dedicated to sharing with you everything you need to know to become hugely successful in private practice. Thanks for joining me today. Now let the class begin. All right. I'm going to share this out on online. How do I do this? This always blows my brains whenever I try to do it. Quickly, 2 seconds. Paul Goff. Where are we at? Right, this one. There we go. Share. Done. Post. Right. The reason I like it on my personal is because I can see the questions coming in as well from the personal stuff. Right, I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I'm good. All right, let's go. Let's get into it. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. We're live. We've already got 2 viewers. We're popular. We've got Paul's. We've got Paul's mom.
I'm popular.
We've got Paul's mom and Stephanie's husband.
Yeah, exactly.
Tuning in live from all around the world. So we're back with another podcast. Welcome, everybody. We're beaming across Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, I believe. We will be putting this back up on the podcast as well. So it's we're growing the audience and the listenership. Thank you to everybody all over the world. It seems the new podcast is getting a lot more attention than we ever did. So thanks for that. And today we're going to talk to the amazing Stefani, the one who makes me laugh, just because she laughs, and that makes me laugh. And then I think I make Stefani laugh, and then this whole thing.
And then it just keeps on going.
It just becomes a laugh, and I think, great, let's get Stefani on the podcast every week. Stefani has definitely got access to laugh and gas somewhere. Do they sell laugh and gas in America?
Hey, that's why I get the front seat so that you in the conferences so that you can hear me.
Definitely, you don't. I
hear myself all the time when I listen to your podcast. I'm like, there I am.
Do you realize when we did PPM Live, we were looking at the seats and there was a space. They were going to allocate a table to certain people who bought tickets. I was like, no way are they all sitting there. And the staff were like, wow. I was like, that's where Stephanie's sitting. Stephanie must sit as close to me as is humanly possible because she's the only one who laughs at my jokes. And as long as Stefani laughs, then this whole thing is good. True story, Macy, yes or no? It was a true story. I was like, I need like there's 2 or 3 people who get my humor, and Stefani is one of them, so she can sit right at the front. And I
get everyone's humor. I laugh all the time.
I love it. You make everybody laugh, and I think it's fantastic. So we're going to Texas. We're going to Dallas. It wasn't that long ago we spoke, and you were in your beautiful new home that you'd proudly bought as a result of the success of your business, and just
I'll be there in a few weeks.
Everything you're doing in your life, getting your shit together, if you like, if that's what we want to we want to call it. And I thought it would be a wonderful podcast today to just share your experience. Obviously, you were one of the finalists. Fantastic. I was just reading your stuff before you came on. Your CEO essays is in front of me, and just the progress that you've made. Revenue increase of $135 nearly $1,000 last year, an additional profit of over $65,000, putting you at nearly $250,000 in profit take-home pay, which is just, it's stunning and it's sensational. And you're on that way to $1 million revenue business. But most importantly, you're having the time of your life. And I think I can never get enough of interviewing somebody like yourself to share with us your story and journey. And by the sounds of it, we've got you at a pretty good time. There's some good stuff happening in your business. So we're going to talk all about that and your experience of being on stage. Do you want to start there? Tell us a little bit about your experience from stage. What was it like?
Oh my gosh, it's I don't know. I played sports, so it's kind of like you're out there playing your first game of the season, and you have just the butterflies going, but you also have your adrenaline going at the same time. So it's fun and scary and terrifying all at the same time.
Did you like the smoke machine?
Oh, it was great. Yeah.
Lasers.
And you couldn't see anyone. It's so hard to see anyone. So
I quite like that. And it did. I felt pretty cool that you couldn't see anybody; you could just hear people.
Yeah.
And at times I thought, I'm just talking to myself here. And then you're like, this is quite cool. I'm just relaxed. I can't really see anybody's reaction. And I'm just speaking. And if you like it, you like it. That's about it. So yeah, I quite
Well,
like
I
the
think
fact that
even
we
when you're
couldn't
in
see
the
people.
moment, it's kind of like when I play sports, you don't hear any, like you're just
Yeah.
so in your zone that even if people were to react or respond, I don't really notice it anyway. So
It's tiring as well when you do it. The more that you do it, because you're draining adrenaline all the time.
yeah,
You're kind of trying to hold yourself together and remember what you need to say, and
yeah.
wondering what people are thinking and their reactions to it. And then you're trying to follow along with your slides and hopefully tell the story. And it's
Did I miss
tiring.
something?
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
was going to say this, and it came out completely different because I never know what comes out of my mouth. It's just whatever comes out comes out. I mean, you plan it, but you don't know.
You did great. You did amazingly. It was one of the tightest Ultimate CEO competitions we've ever had. There was
I
about
believe it.
2 votes in it. And I normally know in my heart, like the night before. I honestly never see it. I don't want to ever to know I love the sort of reaction, if you like, on the day and when somebody gives me the envelope. But in my heart, I've always been able to go, I think it'll be that person because of the story, or I think it'll be that person for various reasons. The marketer in me always tries to get it right. And it could have been either one. The stories were so good and the successes. It was definitely the closest that we've ever had. And I think everybody felt that in the room that day as well.
But did you know that we had a pact that no one could cry?
Is
Because
that
the person
right?
that cries wins. So we made a pact at the beginning, no one can cry. And I thought Natty, he came
He was
close.
tempted.
He came
Yeah.
close. And so
Yeah, he did. He lost it a little, didn't he, at one
he
point?
did. He did.
Yeah.
Talking about his family.
Yeah, he's a very
You know,
emotional
it
character.
always
Yeah,
happens.
he's a great guy. He's very emotional. In fact, I think he's on next week's podcast. We've got him lined up next week. And but it tells you how much this business thing means to people. And
Yeah.
that's what that is. You put your heart and your soul into this, your blood, sweat, and your tears, and every thought that you've got is probably consumed by the business, one way or the other.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we're all the same. And then all of a sudden, you get this opportunity to share your story, and it's like it gets you. It really does, and it's a wonderful, healthy thing to reflect on the story and just tell people how far you've come, and get a round of applause and a pat on the back and a bunch of cheerleaders, kind of saying, "Well done." It's what we ultimately all need. So let's get into it. What's going on in your business? Give some updates for everybody who is not familiar with Stefani. If you didn't hear the last podcast, she's based in Dallas, started a cash pay business, is now up to sort of $800,000 in revenue over the last few years. It's done tremendously well. Give us an update. What's happening inside of your business over the last few months since we spoke?
Oh my gosh, I think I've blown it up. Let's see.
Right, in it, blown up as in you're making more money, or blown up as in we've dropped a bomb?
Oh, a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Definitely making more money because I don't have enough staff.
Good.
But just making some changes. I came back from conference and fired a PT.
Yep.
God bless. He only lasted for a week, but he needed to be gone. Hired another PT already. So like before I even fired him, I already had the next PT hired. I'm still waiting for her to be able to come and join us. She has unfortunately another month because she took on a student. So we have to wait for that. But I'll be excited for her to get started. I've decided to switch over to your CMO program. I feel like I definitely can save some money there, but I'm also going to use the money towards other things that can specialize to get us, just get us out there a little bit more with people that, are talented in different areas. So I did that. What else? Oh, I fired my SEO company. So I'm starting with a new one. Just a lot of changes to get ready for next year, honestly, to just hit the road running.
Let's talk about that. We'll go back. We'll be as sensitive as we can, and we'll be vague about the removal of one of the PTs. We'll just be very vague, and we'll talk hypothetically, right? Yeah. Hypothetically about the situation. What, in your experience, so if there's somebody listening to this now, either starting their own business, they're hiring people, they're hiring PTs. Where does it go wrong when you hire these PTs? Is it culturally, in that they just can't stick to your standards and accountability, or is it attitudinally? They're just turned off from, they just don't like being told what to do or following rule. Culture, I guess it's the same thing. Or is it that they're just not performance-wise, like hands-on patients, and they just can't deal with that or the speed? Where's it gone wrong?
So when we interviewed him, we said it was going to go either really well or really bad.
Yeah.
Because he had so much confidence. So we couldn't really determine if the confidence was like, okay, he's very self-assured of himself and he's going to come in, he's going to do a great job because of the confidence, or was there a little bit of ego?
Yeah.
And it was ego. So there were signs from the second day. I was like, he just didn't want to co-treat. He didn't understand why he had to. He would talk about how great he was and he didn't need any help. But at the same time, he goes, I don't know how to treat this patient. The things that he did was crazy. I mean, literally Daymond John is speaking and my phone is blowing up with my PT and my ops manager. And I'm like, okay, we're done. So I knew on Friday that he was done.
Yeah. And it was all that it was just,
they're like, I can't even, like, there was no, would not do any kind of co-treats at all.
What's their beef with co-treats then? What's the issue there?
He had an ego. He thought he was so good.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, he thought he was so good, even though he didn't know how to treat the patient and he didn't know what he was doing. It wasn't. He wanted to come in because he really wanted to learn about the business and the cash type things. But like, that's why he wanted to come in. And it was going to be a part-time position. I was like, this is going to be fantastic. I can fill him up. I knew that it was probably going to be a short-term solution, like maybe 6 months. But by then I'd be ready to, like, I'd be able to take his whole caseload and give it to a whole new PT that would be full-time. So so I was like, this could be like a win-win, but no, it was horrible. I went back to full-time PT. So
what did you see in the interview? What did you see in the interview that made you think this could be a problem? And why did you ignore it?
I couldn't tell if his confidence again was like an ego thing, or was it really that he was just a really confident, he carried himself like very confidently.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really tell initially. The learning piece of it, as far as him learning, when I asked him questions around that, he literally is like, oh yeah, I've taken courses from like business coaches. And I'm like, I like, so he liked that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I think here comes the ego part of it, was more of like, I only want to learn what I want to learn because I think that's what I need to learn. And I don't need to learn that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where it went wrong.
Yeah, I've been talking about this a lot, and I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast recently, but the biggest thing, I'm in the middle of a huge recruitment drive. So there's been, over the last 2-3 months, a lot of new staff coming into Paul's world. And what I've been panicking about is the problem that surfaces when you bring new people in, that they don't ask questions. And they're very certain, right? So there's this element to an employee where we think that certainty is good. So we think that when a new employee comes in, if they tell you that they know what they're doing, then you just go, great, I've got somebody. When in reality is, if you ask them if they need help and they say, no, I'm good, there's probably a bomb going to go off somewhere. And what we would rather see is, what do you think? I was about to, is this right? Just checking. There's a little bit of humility and humbleness there in it that allows them to go, I think I'm right, and I think I'm on the right tracks, but let me just check and have this validated and just make sure. And the more that you watch when employees come through the doors, that's what you're looking for. That if there's too much certainty, they don't know where they're stuck. And equally, if they're like constantly, if they're asking the same question 6 months later, then there's a problem, right? Like they're not implementing it, or they're not listening. So it's just a little thing that I've found over the intensity recently of bringing new people in. It hit me all at once. I'm like, I'm ringing Sophie going, something doesn't feel right here. I don't know what it is. And I remember my desk is just surrounded by stuff. So I just go back to all my notes and workbooks, and I'm like, there's something in one of these where I've come across this before, and I don't know what it was. And anyway, there it was. And it was this idea of certainty versus questions. And certainty versus questions, that's what it is. If they're too certain, there's a problem. And if they don't ask enough questions, there's a problem. Yeah. So I think that's what you're watching out for in the early, early phase.
And Victoria asked me, she goes, how are you going to start the conversation? I said, well, I'm just going to ask him, like, how do you feel like it's going? And I go, I know what his answer is going to be. Oh, it's going good. Like, it'll be very short. And I said, do you feel like there's any problems? Like, with like your first week. And I told her, I was like, he's going to be like, no, I think it's going great. Like, like he literally regurgitated things that I said that he'd have issues with patients transitioning off my schedule. And I was like, okay, these are also canned. And then I was like, here's some huge red flags for me. And so then we went into kind of all of that. But he lasted a week.
Self-awareness, I think, is a big challenge that more and more it's the first thing I look for when somebody comes through the doors. Or it's certainly even in an interview, is this person got self-awareness? Do they know how they're being? Do they know how they're presenting? And if they can't and they're blind to it, does not matter what coaching you give them, what books you shove in front of their face, how many hints you drop, it doesn't make any.
Doesn't make a difference.
No, it doesn't make a single jot of difference. So what else? What else is going on?
Yeah, we're also I'm switching gears on like how I'm going to hire too, because I'm just trying to think outside the box with like just trying to find people, because I need some more help in the front. So I've gone back to something that I've done. I did this in my last business, and I'm going to go back to doing it because honestly, it'll give me a flow of PTs. But I've kind of partnered with like SMU College, and they have like a whole program with students that want to go get into PT school.
Yeah.
So we have our first interview of a student that wants to get into PT school. They're going to be great with patients because that's just how PTs are if they're wanting to go in there. And they're going to just kind of help us out part-time in the front to take some stuff off of Victoria's plate. They can start learning the processes. They can come into like all the podcasts that we listen to. We can give them so much education. And when they go into PT school, then we just will keep on following up with them. So when they're out, they're going to be way like ready to come back and work in. So then I'll just have all this flow of PT students. So I'm going back to doing that. I literally, in my last business, I like hired them. And then when they were leaving, I said, you have to find your next person to take your position. Yeah. And they would. And so then I had all these flow, like I have one PT student, she's going to be out that worked for me, like 5 years ago, that will be coming back. And she's going to be, oh my God, I'd hire her out of school. She's fantastic. So just kind of thinking outside the box with other positions and how we're structuring things. So we're going to see how that goes.
I love it. And I go back, and I've been talking about this labor shortage for quite a while now, as you know. It's not going away. It never will go away. It might get slightly better from time to time. The entire mess that this world is in right now economically has nothing to do with politicians, although we all love to bash them. There is a genuine labor shortage. There is a genuine lack of people. And from the research I've done, it's probably not far off before the birth rate actually starts to go the other way. Now it starts to go negative. So there really isn't that horizon that everybody is hoping for, that people will all of a sudden magically appear. The interest rate rises are not really going to do that much to curb inflation because it's people-based. Yeah. And all of us need to wake up to the idea that the biggest challenge you're going to have over the next 2, 3, 5, until immigration policies change or automation kicks in or artificial intelligence like really takes over the planet, which probably isn't in the next 3 to 5 years as much as people think it might be. We're all in this labor shortage thing together. Every single person that you hear says, I'm struggling to find staff. Candidly, one of the reasons that the CMO program that we put together, it's on the back of that we knew. I knew, the business owner in me knows what the problem is of the audience. My audience's problem is they can't find two things. Bookkeepers, they do not exist. Bookkeepers do not exist right now anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the Western world. And it's going to get worse because of why? Well, when the government announces an 80 billion package to hire all of the financial people in the United States out of the public system and put them in, the private system and put them in the public system with better benefits, you've just sucked even more bookkeepers, even more financial advisors who are scarce anywhere out of the realms of somebody like me or you hiring them, and they've gone into the public system to then do their due diligence and steal money from small businesses. So the bookkeepers are non-existent, and as are the marketing assistants. It's very, 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 very difficult to go find marketing assistants. It's very difficult to go and find PTs. Like they're regulated anyway. They only come out of school every 6 months, so you're already capped. So when you see all of this, you think, well, hang on, I'm struggling to find marketing assistants. So we go, okay, let's we innovate and create the CMO program. I'll take my time to find them. And we see that there's no bookkeepers. So we go, okay, well, I'll find a load of bookkeepers. I'll do my due diligence. So I'll hire somebody whose only job it is to find marketing assistants and bookkeepers. So like there's a full-time person on it. But what we then have to do as small business owners is always be going, okay, how do we innovate? How do we get to the point? And I love your idea of bring them out of school, because a business that I think, and this is the little nuance, there's two types of business in regards to this. You could build a business and it's based upon somebody's expertise, or you can build a business and it's based upon your creativity, and you create the structure and the system and the machine, if you like, that they come into, that they grow within. So you're not expecting them to bring the magic. You're expecting them to bring their attitude. You're expecting them to bring character. and then you sprinkle the magic on it that allows them to grow. And I think that little segment there, that little 60 seconds is genius for people to listen back to, that you have a choice. You can go and pay for the star, who very rare, it's very difficult to find. You can find, if you can find the star these days, good luck. They're out there, but there's not that many. Or you can create the structure of the company, bring somebody in with great character and attitude into that structure, sprinkle your magic on it or them, and then let them grow within that team. And I think that's the best strategy for us moving forward. And that sounds like what you're doing.
Yep. Yeah. Got to do something different.
Yeah, it's just not going to go. We can't sit here and go, I can't find anybody off Indeed. It's like, well, great, but what time are you spending? We always go back to how much time are you spending on it? What are you really doing to try and get somebody before somebody quits? So all of these things need to be, need to be factored in. So what's going really well inside of the business then? What's happening great for you?
Gosh, I can't even.
Let's do this one. Who's doing really well? Let's talk about which employee. Don't have to name a name. What role is working out really well for you right now?
Well, my PT, both my PTs are fantastic. Yep. They're self-sufficient. This is like, she's my third person I brought on board. So I pretty much almost have it down to like, it's about a 4-month process to get them up and running and confident and understanding kind of like how we treat, and then they can bring their twist on it. But our base is very similar. How we have conversations, how we kind of do the evaluations, and our communication is very similar. So it makes it look similar. So that's going really well. My ops manager, she's fantastic. I just gave her another raise. She deserves it.
What's the good about her? What does she do that you think if somebody else could get this in their business, they're going to be successful? What does she do for you?
She's just really good with people. And understanding people. And, she's good with like the interview process. She's always spot on. So she can pick up these are my concerns, with it. She's really good at just understanding the people in the business. So like, I don't get bombarded with like little small things that might be going on. She'll like wait and see, if there's anything major going before she'll even come up and even have a conversation with me about it. So she's just really good at all of that. She's great at all the numbers and analyzing it. She literally is talking to my sales guy and they had a conversation on Friday. I wasn't able to be there because I'm so busy with patients. And I had a PT that was out of town, and she literally was like, the numbers look fantastic. Like, you came in and here's this month, and our, conversion rate didn't go down at all. So you're already starting at doing a good job. So she can analyze all of that, but it's because she's been around me for 2 years and we talk so much. So, and she loves to learn.
Good. What does it look like from the training point of view with somebody like that? Then what's the time that you spend with her? How do you develop her? What have you done?
Oh gosh. She spent a lot of time up front. She's really good. Like, when you go back to saying like, someone that asks a lot of questions, she asks a lot of questions. I just want to get clarification on this. How would you respond to this? How,
questions.
Questions. She's constantly, and she was raised really well because her mom's like, there's no dumb question. You always ask. You need to continually ask. So she asked a ton of questions, and she still asks questions if she's not really sure. She is someone that is like, you don't have to ask her to do like, I'm going to go find a better way to do this. So, and she'll just go search it. I'm going to research this to figure out if this might work better. And she'll just go and do it. And then she gives me the information. So, she doesn't need a lot of direction.
Good. I love it. Is she recruiting for you yet? Is she managing anybody? How do you see
that's the problem. That's why we need to get someone in the front. The salesperson took a big chunk off of her, but we still need someone in the front. That's why we decided that we're going to hire someone right now. We'll just do 10 hours. If we need to increase it, we can. I'll end up probably splitting the job between two PTs at some point. So that'll start helping her take some time off to where she can be more regular with some of the recruiting. We already have backups for some of the positions already anyway. Like PT, I already have backups for PT because we will always just throw something out there. I always get people that respond to my website and sign up that way. Yep. So then we just have we have an ongoing list of PTs. So if we need to, we just go back to all of them. Hey, are you searching for a better position, a different opportunity, something that's going to give you a better whatever work lifestyle balance that they all say. So we have a list of people there.
Good. Switching gears, what's the biggest challenge you've got? What are you facing now as you look towards the end of the year? What's the biggest challenge you've got?
My biggest challenge is I'm just packed with patients because we are so busy. When I lost one of my PTs, I hired back in like March, expecting that based on all my numbers and where they were the year before, we start ramping up and increasing around like March, April, May, summer. Usually we start taking off. Well, that didn't happen because of everyone going on vacation. So in August we took off, and that just, I mean, like everyone's full. My PT's 100% full, both of them. I'm 100% full, trying to manage everything. And that's been the hardest part. So it really, and when I talk to my sales guy, I apologize all the time. Like, this is why I can't treat all the time, because I'm in the business and I gotta get out of the business so that I can like drive it forward. So that's probably the biggest challenge right now. I also, in the midst of this, decided to sign up for an online course on like getting my online course ready to roll out at the beginning of the year. So I've mixed that in the bowl as well. And on top of my book that is like, needs to be, I mean, it's back from the editor. I have half of it done, but I need to get to the rest of it. So just a lot of stuff going on. But it's all good. I mean, it'll all get done. It's just prioritizing what's most important.
It feels like I speak to, obviously, hundreds of people, and it feels like everybody goes through the same phase, and whether or not in the summer it felt like everybody was having a hard time, and it was like, I just can't get the patience, and like they're canceling, or they're just not there now, or is this going to be a 2 or 3 year horrible period that we're entering into? But
I think so.
I think it's swung back now. The more that I talk to people, the general consensus is that. And again, what I love to do is, again, for people listening, you see that initial contraction in the summer. Well, why wouldn't it, right? Gas prices are out of control. Media takes over. It's all fear mongering. It's the world's going to end, and interest rates this, and they're all going to do what they're going to do. Interest rates are going to do whatever they're going to do, and gas prices are going to do. But most of the time, most people are all right with it. It's the fear of not being all right with it that is the problem, right? And so everybody contracts for a little while. And then all of a sudden they go, well, actually, I'm comfortable with this now. And I don't like it. And it's a bit of an irritant to me. And my gas bill is a bit higher, and all of these things. This is not ideal, but it's not as bad as I first feared. And I think generally that's what happens in society. And I think it's happened in the physio, like, why wouldn't it, industry over the last 3 to 6 months, that there was that initial contraction, the sticker shock of interest rate rises and gas prices being bloody $6-7 or whatever it was. That now people have just settled down, are breathing again, and are going, okay, let's get back out. Let's get back on with doing whatever we have to do and spending whatever we have to spend. And it'll trickle down into physio clinics over the next, certainly over the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Yeah.
Well, and I think it was too, just people were out of town on vacation because they had vacations left over. So many people were on vacation. And I was like, I kept on telling the staff, it's like, in September, it's going to increase. I'm just going to tell you it will. I promise you. And it was August, and August normally is slow because people come back and school's getting started, and it usually dips down if you look at like our normal trends. But I was like, holy cow, like it just imploded. So like that's the hardest part right now, is navigating that. I had a PT ready to go, but that didn't work out, obviously. So I'm having to wait a little bit longer for this next one to come up. But I think my biggest next phase is really looking and searching for someone that is going to be like that lead PT that can come in and take that education piece off and start doing kind of what I'm doing. So then that'll take me out even more out of the business of having to kind of dive back in. So that's I'm hoping, we'll see. I'm hoping this she's someone that really kind of wants to be around, and like they're about to buy a house, and I think she wants to stay in Dallas. So I'm hoping that she'll be a good fit, but we'll see. You just go in and as you get to know them and see how they work and operate, you'll know if they're going to be a good fit for something like that or not. But that's what I need to search for, someone that's going to be like that.
Good. Are you starting to think about 2023 yet? What's your plans?
I want to get away for at least a month in the summer to be in Colorado. So that's my big goal. We actually have it rented out 3 months already out of the year. So I'm like telling my husband, like, slow it down a little bit so we can figure out like when we go up there. But that's my biggest thing. It's my 50th next year. So I'm hoping I'll go on another like we'll see. Crazy trip. I want to go somewhere. That's what I did for my 40th. Like I get to go anywhere I want to go. So
Hartlepool's a nice place to go.
Hartlepool's a nice place.
It's crazy. That would be a bit left field when you tell your friends in Dallas that I'm going to Hartlepool
for my 50th.
Yeah, for the week. Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that all plays out as well. But yeah, I haven't thought from that perspective yet. I'm just trying to get my business moving in the right direction for the beginning of the year. And then I'll start figuring out some of those things. But I'll be back in Colorado after CEO. So.
What about in terms of the business? Have you started doing your annual planning? Are you thinking about next year yet?
So I've already kind of started thinking about it. I haven't really sat down to like do the numbers, but I will. I'll do that probably when I'm in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's kind of streamlined because I just have all my spreadsheets and I basically can just like take it and see what the average is and come up with things pretty quickly to kind of see like, okay, this is how much it costs to run the business monthly. So I kind of can have a good screenshot of what that looks like. And this is what it has to look like to get where I want to get to. So I'll start working backwards and doing that. And next year, then a different revenue stream that I'll be adding is online stuff. So I'm working on my online back course. I'm gonna do a mini one and then I'm gonna do a longer one that will be a little bit more expensive. So those are in the mix. I have a book coming out next year. So all of that's in the mix of just some different revenue streams, as well as everything we're doing.
How do you get so much done? I can picture
somebody. How do I get so much done?
I can picture somebody listening to this in their car on the way to work who's already tired and they haven't even got to work yet listening to Stefani and all that she does. How do you get
I think done? I make everyone tired. I am ADHD, like to a T. Right. So I get to, it's like my superpower. So, and I can use it. I know I've learned over like all the years, because it was a struggle in school. When I was in school with it, but I've learned how to navigate it and how to bring it to my advantage. So that's honestly, I know when I've already had my body crash. So I know what that feels like. So I know when I'm like, you know what, I need to slow it down and back it off because I'm moving in the wrong direction. So I kind of know how to ebb and flow out of doing too much. Because I just know my body.
Yeah. What about dealing with all of the sort of mental kind of side of it, the spinning all the plates in your head and juggling? I'm doing the book, I'm hiring people, I'm off to Denver, I'm kind of off to mastermind events. Like how do you deal with it all?
So there's a couple of ways that I manage my energy. I have an ability for my brain to like switch. So I can literally go from one thing and immediately switch to another thing, which I know is very, like, it drives my husband crazy because he can't keep up. He says I'm a tornado and he's behind me picking up all the pieces. Literally, I believe it. But I have an ability to take information. So a lot of times, like Tuesdays are my days, usually when I don't treat. It hasn't been that way, but I had actually this week. And I just time block. So like if I have to get a lot of stuff done, I have a time block and I just like get it all done. And you know, if there's like yesterday, there was an hour, there's a patient that canceled and I have like my list of things that I need to get done. And so I'm like, oh, I have an hour. I'm just going to go and start working on this. So like I was working on my CEO document yesterday because someone canceled and moved. And so I was like, cool, I'll get this done. So I don't have to do it this weekend. So it's just knowing how to manage your time a little bit. Time blocking is huge so that you can like get a lot of stuff. Cause if I'm going to be creative with writing stuff, I have to have like a 3-hour period of time.
Yeah. I love it. A couple of questions, last couple on PPM. What was your biggest takeaways? What was your favorite thing? What did you learn from it?
My favorite was like James Lawrence. Honestly, you know, I think you look at all the stuff that he's done, like just the mental toughness that you have to be able to do 50 marathons in 50 states in 50 days. Like that's just insane. And that your mind can get you through that. It just makes me feel like anytime I come up with like a struggle of any sort, I'm like, is it really a struggle? I just have to think of his story and I'm like, okay, it could be way worse.
Yeah.
It's really not. It's not. And then just knowing like one of the things that he said, like the resilience that you get is from all your struggles in your past. You're learning from all those things and that's what makes you resilient. So that's kind of what I also think as well when I hit up against something. So Yeah, I loved his talk. It was great. Daymond John, I loved, like everyone says, the 27 summers. It's just like, just live your life, make sure that you're living it. And that's one thing that I try to do. That was one thing when my dad passed away. I was like, work is not that important, and I need to get my priorities straight. And so I take time. I do fun things. I do fun things with my friends. I do fun things with my husband. And we travel all the time. So I love stuff like that. And I think also the thing that he said too was, you'll have people in your business that will come in and they get their job done, but that's about, there's nothing that will be above and beyond that they might do, that if any other kind of situations where you need to downsize, you're going to rework something, those are the people that'll be out of your business. And that's essentially kind of what happened.
Yeah, it is. It's a sign that your life is growing. When I loved it when he started speaking about losing friends on purpose, if you like. You're just growing too fast for people around you, and their sort of negativity. You don't have to keep that in your life. You can be civil, but it's not your obligation to deal with all of their their inability to sort that out, if you like. And I love that. But we live in a guilt-ridden world where everybody feels like they have to do stuff because it just invokes guilt when you even consider that you're going to walk away from a friend or family, even if they're bringing you down every time you walk into the room. And I love that, the brutal candor in that. It was just, no, it's my life and I'm living it. And if you want to play, we'll play. If you don't, then you need to go and play with the negative kids. But you're not hanging around with me anymore. And it is such a thing that you'll find in business as well. You're going to grow so fast and you're going to move the business on so quickly. It'll be very difficult to kind of hang on to everybody. Lots will come with you and they'll stay on the journey, but some quite simply won't, because you're going so fast. And like you said, you haven't got that much time to play with, really. Mm-hmm. I used it on Monday on Halloween with the kids. I got home, I was a bit tired, and I thought, oh, do I want to? Like, as much as I always would, it was just a slight moment in my head. I was like, oh, I'd love to just put my feet up tonight. And I looked at Harry and I thought, I've probably only got five more Halloweens with his kids, like 4 at best, before he's off and doing his own. And then immediately you're like, oh shit, no, enjoy this. You've got a 9-year-old kid who within 4 years is going to be saying, Dad, I want to go off with my mates, and I'm doing this with
4 more summers,
4 more Halloweens, basically. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I said. I was like, 4 more Halloweens. That's it with this kid. 4 more Halloweens as a family before he wants to do his own thing. And then I ain't seen him. He's coming in at whatever time because he's been out with his friends, and rightly so at that age. I'm not going to be telling him to come out with his baby brothers and doing whatever. He's going to be able to live his own life. But sadly, it'll only be 3 or 4 more Halloweens for me before he doesn't want to hang out with us. And then you're like, oh shit, like, yes, this is real kid. Like, let's not waste any of these golden opportunities to live your life. And if you apply that at every level, everything that you think about, all of a sudden it changes your energy, your motivation for it. Yeah, it changes you. You're right. Perspective changes your motivation. I think that's a big thing there, that you change your view of it, and you're like, actually, that makes
that's life. That's like even in business, you have to change your view on things to get through some stuff, because if not, you're going to get stuck at where you are.
Yeah, I love it. Stefani, you're a star. It's been a fantastic conversation. Thank you. Great discussion on people. And I think, again, just make sure you never lose that. I don't think you ever will. It sounds like it's in your DNA, the energy that you've got for life, and the zest that you have for it. It's magical. And people need to be sprinkled with it a bit more, which is why I love getting you on the podcast, just for what better way to spend Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock. I often think, what was I supposed to be doing? I was in Alabama yesterday, right? And I was sat in the bar last night at the airport in Alabama in Huntsville. And I'm sat there with a nice IPA. I'm looking out onto the runway. It's a gorgeous sunset. Well, this is an interesting one for you, right? As I was coming home, I haven't kind of gone through this other than last night as I was on the flight. So I'm sat in Alabama, and it's just this gorgeous sunset. Around about 6 o'clock, the sun's going down. I'm thinking, God, I remember seeing a comment once that said, if you don't know what date it is or what country you're in, you're living a great life, or what state you're in. And I honestly live that life. I'm like, what day is it? What season is it? Right? Because since I live in Florida, I have no clue what season it is. I have no clue half the time what state I wake up in and what time zone I'm in. And last night it hit me again. I'm sat there with my feet up in the bar with a nice IPA, looking out onto the sun, onto the runway, watching the planes go. Then I got on a plane, right? This sums fucking life up, right? I swear this sums life up. I got on the plane, And there I was, right? Not one person had the windows. Not one person had the windows up, right? And they did it on the flight out, and it was a gorgeous day when I flew out of Orlando, right? It was a similar time where it was a beautiful evening. So you had a gorgeous sunset over the city, if you like. I'm like, why do these fuckers not have the windows open? Like, what's going so wrong that like they don't even want to look out? You're about to take off and fly through over a gorgeous sunset, right, in Alabama, where there's mountains and all sorts of shit, which is beautiful. So I looked at the woman next to me and I went, any chance you can open that window, or even just one of them? And she went, oh, yeah, sorry, I never thought. And I'm like, no wonder, because you sat on fucking Instagram, right, looking at every single angle of every picture that's in your news feed, staring and judging the shit out of everybody, probably. Meanwhile, we're about to get on a flight, right, on a random Wednesday night. Got the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen. Not one cloud in the sky in Alabama, and we're going to take off through it, right? At literally 7:05 as the sun's going down at 7:08. Like, do you think you could put it up just so we can watch this? This might be quite nice. This is like beautiful, natural, joyous thing. That like, what's like? But this is the light. People are just like brain dead half the time. They just don't appreciate. I think this is half the problem. You pointed out to her, and then she's looking at it every minute for the next 10-15 minutes, taking pictures, and I'm like, dude, like, surely, like, no, obviously not. But anyway, I'm sat last night in the bar thinking, I don't know what day it is. I don't even know where I'm at. I don't know what time zone I'm in. My clock's still on Eastern, but I'm in another time zone. And I'm thinking, this is just the most amazing life. Like, it really, really is. And here I am on what day is it? Thursday afternoon at 1:00, interviewing Stefani, and I'm having the time of my life. And you think, yeah, you've nailed
it's gratitude.
It is. You've nailed
it's gratitude. People need more of it, and be thankful for like where they are in life. And it always could be worse. Always.
Thank you very, very much. You're a star, and we will definitely have you back on the podcast early next year at some point. You can keep giving us your updates on your business and your life. Thank you. All right, Stefani. Thanks very much. We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
See you later.